about the opportunities to work together in the State House. I'm Lydia Edwards. I am running to be a senator for the 1st Suffolk and Middlesex, and I'm here with many hopeful future colleagues who are going to talk a little bit about why it's important that not only that I win this as a senator, but the track record that I have as a colleague already as a city councilor. So I'm going to MC this, and then I'll also have some comments a little bit later, and we'll answer questions after the fact. But for right now, I'm going to turn it over to Chairman Michlewitz for some brief opening remarks.
Thank you, Lydia. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. We're here today because we're here to show from many of my colleagues, whether they live in the district or not live in the district. As you can see, there are some that live in the 1st Suffolk and Middlesex, and there are some from all over the state. I see the Cape is here today being well represented. I see Berkshire's on. Well, they couldn't get here yet. Berkshire's was a little longer to get here. But there are, the point of this is to show that there is a wide array of support for Lydia Edwards, and that is because of the work that she has done. She has the track record. She has the experience. She knows how to actually pass legislation. She's actually been even before she got elected as a city councilor, she worked on legislation that got passed up here with many of us. And she knows exactly, each and every one of us. She has actually had experience in dealing with each and every one of us, and she knows day one that she can go back to us and start working and getting things done. And I think it's critical to understand that in this race, because we have a situation here where we're in dire straits in terms of work that needs to be done. We have a lot on our table. There's a lot of things that need to get done from a legislative standpoint. Recovery, a racial injustice that we are starting to really work on, continuing to work on, and making sure that we're making inroads with. And the fact that having Lydia Edwards up at the State House will be another seat at the table with another voice, with another opportunity to make sure that Boston has that opportunity to make sure that there is plenty to say and plenty to do. And so Lydia is someone I've worked with personally on a number of fronts, whether they be in my neighborhoods that we represent together, or up here at the State House on legislation like Airbnb and others. And it is something that I know firsthand that I can work with Lydia, and I know many of us feel that same way here. So that's why we are here today, to make sure that everyone understands that experience matters. It matters in this race. It matters in working up at the State House. It is not something that you just walk into and start right away and understand exactly what's going on. You need to know how to get things done on Beacon Hill. And Lydia Edwards is that candidate in this race that can do that from day one. So I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to be here with many of my colleagues. And I think I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, my cousin over here from the other side of the tunnel, Adrian Madaro, the representative of East Boston. Representative Madaro.
Thank you, Aaron. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with so many of my colleagues to support my city councilor, Lydia Edwards, in her bid for the state Senate seat. I was just reflecting on the fact that about 10 years ago, when I was a staffer here at the State House, I met with Lydia Edwards, the advocate, when she was here fighting for the Domestic Workers Bill of Rights, a piece of legislation she helped author, and at the end of the day helped pass to become law. And, here we are a decade later. I get the opportunity to serve as her state representative for East Boston, and she my city councilor. And in the past few years, while she's been a councilor, I've seen the tenacity that she brings to this job, the effectiveness that she brings to this job, the fight that she has for the people each and every day. She is about uplifting those who have been marginalized, whose voices have not been historically at the table. And I couldn't think of a better colleague to have in the State House to partner on legislative issues. We need an advocate and champion like Lydia Edwards. And like Chairman Michlewitz said, experience does matter. It's not easy to move things in the State House. It takes an understanding of the inner workings of that building, and Lydia has that. She's shown that as an advocate, she's shown that as a city councilor, and she will show that as our next state senator. So I'm proud to be with you, Lydia, and so happy to see so many of our colleagues here who feel the same way. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jay Livingstone, a state representative for Beacon Hill, where you are, and Cambridge for this district. And I'm so proud to also endorse Lydia Edwards. I've also known Lydia for 10 years. We met on opposite sides of a legal case 10 years ago, where she showed all the skills that I've been impressed with ever since. She was always prepared, always focused, dedicated, fiercely loyal to her clients, and a strong fighter. And I've seen her grow and put together strong coalitions to get things done. You know, a lot of people think if they have an idea and they just push it at the State House, if it's a good idea, they'll get it done. But Lydia knows that you have to reach out to all stakeholders, whether they're with you or against you, and persuade them and get them on board. And I've seen her do that in the Domestic Bill of Rights and other legislation since. And that's the type of skill that I want as somebody that's going to overlap with me in the state Senate. And we really need Lydia's energy, her focus, and her collaborative spirit. Also, I've been asked to read a statement. One of our colleagues, Elugardo, come on, Bruno. The newest elected member of the Cambridge City Council.
Hey.
Elugardo couldn't make it. She's the 15th Suffolk State Representative, but she asked me to read this. Lydia is a housing, justice, and labor champion whose fierce genius will be a game changer in the State House. She is in a tough race, and we need all hands on deck. We know Lydia is a formidable opponent and a force of nature. With our help, she will win and bring that same power and focus to getting key legislation over the finish line, while keeping race, equity, and economic justice at the forefront of our legislative agenda. Thank you.
You've heard from all of the representatives from the district, but I did want to also acknowledge my colleagues, City Councilor Kenzie Bach and City Councilor Ed Flynn. That is not fair, Ed. But I do know actually so I wanted to make sure we saw the folks that the Boston delegation are representing here before we turn it over to other representatives from around the state and other senators as well. I wanted to first give the opportunity to our newest mayor of Boston to come and speak. To Mayor Michlewitz.
Thank you to my colleagues at the State House for welcoming and allowing us to visit from City Hall today here. I'm always honored to be with you and grateful for your partnership. So I'm just here to reiterate once again how important it is for the entire city of Boston, for all of our cities across the region, that Lydia is our next state senator. She brings an unmatched track record of knowing how to get things done. She has moved and muscled through so many pieces of legislation on the city council and at the city level that we have seen what's possible by transforming government from the inside. Just yesterday, I was able to sign my very first ordinance divesting the city of Boston from fossil fuels, from private prisons, from harmful industries, and it is because of Lydia's leadership and stewardship over not just this piece of legislation, but so many others, that we've been able to have such a productive session. Most of all, though, I'm here because Lydia has broken down barriers wherever she goes. She's broken them down for herself as the first woman of color to serve in her current seat, and she would be in this seat as well, at a time when we need to make sure that everyone in our communities sees themselves reflected, sees themselves connected to the business of government. But more importantly, Lydia breaks down barriers for everyone else in the seats that she's sitting in. From those domestic workers who unbelievably saw action the very first term, that legislation was filed under her leadership, to the workers, the residents, the small businesses, the tenants that she has fought for every step of the way. So this is a plea from the local level, joining with our leaders here at the state level, that this is an incredibly important race. We cannot sit back because we don't have time to wait. This election is coming up very shortly on December 14th. We need everyone to get out the vote, especially in Boston. There's early voting, there's mail-in ballots, so we'll be ramping up all of those efforts to make sure that people know how to get involved. But this matters, not just at the state level, this matters for cities everywhere here as well. Thank you so much.
Let our first responders do their job. Acknowledge that they have a hard one, so just go ahead and have folks in the State House who are supporters, who have come out to endorse. This is the first time you're seeing a lot of them and their endorsements. We put out some of their quotes so far, but I wanted to just kind of go through and let folks come and speak and talk about why they're here in support of my candidacy. I'm just for efficiency's sake, not for importance, and you are all equally in my heart and deeply loved, but just so I don't forget somebody. I wanted to start from this end and go this way. It's my pleasure to introduce Representative Diggs from the Cape. He's a dear friend, and I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, everybody. Representative Kip Diggs from the 2nd Barnstable District, all the way from the Cape. And let me tell you, the first person I got a phone call when she heard that I was running was Lydia Edwards. And I was so honored to see her leadership that she was, hey, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do the other. And I'm like, she's calling from Boston to help me out. So I'm here honored to be with all my constituents and all my legislators to be here. So thank you, Lydia. Go for Lydia.
Thank you. This is you've heard from two of my representatives from my current city council district. Here comes the third. He is a dear friend, and I have a nickname for him. He knows it, though. It's my crazy Uncle Danny. I won't tell you the other nicknames, but we are a family of people. We work very hard together, and we're both very passionate about our district, especially Charlestown. So, Rep, it's great to have you here, even though I may not be part of your district. That's the goal, actually. But I'm glad that you're here to send me off, right?
District too. You can't get rid of me.
Yeah,
My new district.
over. Yes.
Thank you. That's a fun uncle, right, Funkle? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. What an introduction that was. Okay. Now, as you can see, we get along great, Lydia and I, and I'm honored, honestly, to have her as my Boston City Councilor, and I want to help her get into the Senate, so she doesn't have to do that to me anymore in the introduction. We're going to follow the Freedom Trail right back to Charleston after this, too. So, no, as you can see, Lydia Edwards is a tenacious campaigner, as well as what everyone said about her being an advocate. And that's why this race is going to be important. That's why she's going to win. And that's why I support her, because I have seen her knock on every door and make every phone call, bring people together ordinarily wouldn't come together. That's what makes her a great candidate, what makes her a great city councilor, and will make her a great senator. And I can't wait to walk down the halls to work with her on legislation. I think I may have filed more bills for her than I have on my own behalf. And we will continue to work collectively moving forward. Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you so much. And that's true, yeah. But it speaks to our partnership. So Representative Vitolo today are part of, I think, well over 14 state representatives and 7 senators who have endorsed our campaign. Before we go, I wanted to let my colleagues, my dear friends who have also endorsed me on the City Council, also speak. They represent actually the areas of the First Suffolk and Middlesex together. So I wanted to first have Councillor Flynn and then, of course, Councillor Bach, who represents this area.
Thank you, Lydia. I'm honored to be here. I'm City Councilor Ed Flynn, and I know the legislators made tremendous remarks about Lydia and her policy, especially on housing issues. But let me just focus on one issue, is supporting immigrants. Boston's a city of immigrants, and there's no true champion, no better champion in the city of Boston in support of immigrant rights than Lydia Edwards. She's there for those without a voice in government, and that's why I respect her, that's why I admire her, and she's a wonderful colleague, she's a wonderful friend, and as a colleague on the City Council, she was great to work with, and just for these legislators here, as a future state senator, I know she'll work closely with you all on different policies. So I'm honored to be here to support my friend and colleague, Lydia Edwards. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the legislators for being out today and for their support of Lydia, and to Mayor Wu, and my colleague, Councillor Flynn, and our Councillor-elect colleague, welcome. You're standing on mine and Jay's spot right now. So I've spoken about Lydia at length elsewhere. I just want to echo Councillor Flynn in saying she's an incredible colleague. She's an unbelievable champion for people. And one of the things that I say about Lydia all the time is that where a lot of other people do the analysis and say something is going to be difficult or impossible at end, that's where Lydia starts thinking about, okay, how do we break this down? How do we change the game? Whether you're talking about the or you're talking about the successful zoning amendment to embody affirmatively furthering fair housing into Boston's zoning code and make that have real teeth. Lydia just thinks of things that people didn't even think were possible, and then she makes them a reality. So I just think that when we're looking at transportation, climate change, housing, all the core regional issues, where Boston can't go it alone, where we need all of our colleagues here at the State House, and we need to be in partnership with the towns of Revere, Winthrop, Cambridgeport, as we are in this district. I think that Lydia is the leader for this hour. So I would remind everybody that the election is December 14th, that there will be early voting, there will be mail-in voting, and we really ask everybody to get out and make your voice heard in support of Lydia Edwards.
Lydia Edwards, you've heard my colleagues talk a little bit about her experience and her expertise and her relationships, but I want to talk about her commitment and her dedication. You will do well to vote for Lydia Edwards. She will be a fantastic state senator. She has the true commitment to uplift the issues in her district, and she will put people first every step of the way. She is a brilliant lawyer. She has surpassed me, which is just fantastic when you're a mentor, to see your mentee just flourish and thrive. And she really, truly has all of the policy chops, all of the commitment, the relationships, and the experience and the expertise to walk into the State House as the next state senator and make a difference in her district, in the people's lives, right then on the spot. So I am all in. I think I was the first person to endorse. She said, "Here's what I think I'm going to do," and I said, "I endorse you." She didn't even have to ask. So please join me in supporting her and doing everything we can to make sure that Lydia Edwards is the next state senator. Up next, we have Senator Nick Collins.
Thank you, Councilor. It's an honor to be here this morning to endorse Lydia Edwards for the next state senator for the first Suffolk in Middlesex, soon to be the third Suffolk. And why that's important, you've heard some of my colleagues speak about the issues that Lydia has leaned in on over the course of her private and public life, and they're issues that are very, very important to Boston. Housing, I don't need to spend time on that. We know how important that is to the city. So having an advocate, a happy warrior to the cause at the State House is really important. We found ourselves in these debates over the last decade, whether it was public schools and public school funding, or housing, transportation. Having an advocate like see, we got some fans driving by. Having Lydia Edwards as a partner in the state senate is going to make the efforts that we're trying to make on behalf of the city of Boston that much more fruitful. So I'm honored to be here, and as I said, this election is coming right around the corner. We need a lot out of the city of Boston in this turnout, so that's why we're here today, to remind Boston there's an election here in early December, and to turn out to vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to continue on. Representative Steve Owens.
Thank you so much. I am Steve Owens. I have the honor of representing Cambridge and Watertown. We need Lydia Edwards in the state senate. I'm going to point out two reasons that everyone here has already mentioned, but are important to me. One, we know we have a housing crunch in Greater Boston, and Lydia is the one with the expertise and the knowledge to deal with that crunch going forward. And the other thing that I want to make sure that people know, Lydia is an expert on transportation. I modeled one of my bills that I filed this session after an ordinance that she's been working on in Boston. She is really a role model for me from afar. I was out on the doors like Rep. Connolly on Sunday in Cambridgeport, and we're going to bring her to the Senate. We need her there. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Representative Vitolo, and I represent Brookline. And I was riding in on the Green Line this morning and thinking about this event. We know that Lydia Edwards has the right values and the right policy proposals for this job. But what makes Lydia Edwards an unbelievable choice for the Senate is she understands that legislating is about teamwork. It's about building relationships. It's about finding ways to connect with people with whom you don't completely agree with, to move forward and build something positive. And Lydia Edwards shows time and time again that she can work with folks from anywhere, on anything, and get positive results. And that's what's going to make her an unbelievable senator. And I can't wait for you to join us in the bill.
And my dear friend and colleague, who has been part of so many different conversations on race, on gender equity, I'm so happy that you're here today, Rep. So come on over, Rep Miranda.
Good morning. I didn't get the memo Kip got, so I'm cold. Sorry. Thanks to John for my gloves. I could spend the next few minutes talking about the 30-plus reasons why Lydia Edwards is qualified and has a phenomenal track record. But I want to talk about two other things that are incredibly important, because as a black woman, I'm one of 4 black women who serve in this building. We make up 2% of the legislature here in Massachusetts, and across the country, we make up 4.5% of state legislatures, which isn't enough. As a member of the Black and Latino Caucus, I'm incredibly excited about the opportunity to have Lydia Edwards as our next senator, to be the 3rd black woman in history since the founding of this legislature, because we know that when black and brown people are elected, they not only represent and do the work of equity and justice for our communities, but for everyone. And so I won't spend the time talking about why I think she's dope and fabulous and amazing, but I think in part of representation, we cannot equally serve the residents of this Commonwealth until we have a body that is incredibly reflective. The second point is 90% of leadership in politics, to me, is about showing up. It's not showing up just when it's easy or time of accomplishment or time of achievement or celebration, but when it's difficult, when it's hard, when it's about pushing the Commonwealth to understand that we've got a long way to go on a lot of issues, whether it's housing or racial justice or birthing justice, or just like today in a few hours about hair discrimination and how it impacts black and brown people in the workforce. Lydia shows up. And so I'm just super proud to be here with my colleagues on the local and state level to say Lydia Edwards will be our next senator if we get out there and do the work to elect her. So thank you.
A colleague from Cambridge, please come over. Vernon, Vernon Mosem, excuse me. He's just been elected to the city council in Cambridge, so I wanted to give him an opportunity to speak.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I wanted to say that Lydia is a great advocate for housing justice, an issue that's very near and dear to my own heart. And I've always been a little bit jealous that Boston gets to have her. And so I think this will be a great opportunity. I'm really excited to give her my own vote and to be here supporting her today. Thank you.
Thank you. So this did I get everyone? Make sure I got everyone. So again, who couldn't be here today? Nick Elugardo and Marjorie Decker, and there are many, and Senator Becca Rausch. There's many people who send their regards and their support, and we'll send you a full list of all the State House endorsers of our campaign. But for now, I just want to say thank you for coming out today. Thank you all for coming out today. We have 21 days to do this, and we'll need all hands on deck. So unless there's any questions, we're going to go ahead and conclude. So thank you.